Hello, this is Alejandro Brati from Believe in Yourself, Believe in Your Business, and welcome to the Spanglish World Networks on Single TV channel 250. Please remember to download both the Single TV app on the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. The app is free and available in Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Roku, and all smart TVs. Today, I am so happy to have something completely different, at least from my point of view. Do you hear me well?
Time for something completely different.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I am saying. It's like I love the work of Brent and really it's going to be a very insightful session today. So Brent, welcome to the show.
And a lot of people were probably going, what on the world does hand analysis have anything to do with your business and how to break through the business? And we're going to be talking about seriously, we're going to be talking about hands this episode and how the neurological patterns of your triggers, as well as what motivates you, is shown in the different regions. And I'll teach you what you can do to get out of your triggers. So this is going to be, even though it's a wild topic from a business plan and, whatever renewable or renewable energy models you're doing or AI or everything, I guarantee this is going to be relevant. So thanks for hanging in.
So really, in my case, I have a friend in common with Brent that we started to talk about like different things that we are growing. You know that I always bring people to help to see the world in their perspective. And when he presented me Brent, I was like, okay, I am curious. What is that? How that works? I like, okay, my hand. How you can tell me something with my hand? I know that there is other things, but I was really curious about this, and I have a call with Brent to understand how it works and everything. And I was so fascinated that today I am like, okay, let's have this conversation, Brent. Please, I want to share this with the world, like with the people that is listening to us. And if anybody has any comment, if you are in a social media, because I know that the majority of the people that is here is in TV. But if you are in any social media and you have questions, you are more than welcome to write it, and we can be answering. So
Absolutely. Let's make this
let's
interactive.
let's start with you, Brent. From where are you coming from? Like a little bit of your story, just to start to know how you moved to this place and understanding all of this and making this magic, because at the end for me it's like magic.
Absolutely. Can I share photos as well about the story?
um, I am not sure how it works here with my friend Eduardo.
Well, we can give it a
uh,
try. I can show you what I've got. It looks like we can come back to that. But it would be cool to show you some actual, since I'm talking about hands, I don't want you to imagine things. So it'd be nice if I could show you a couple
there is
examples.
a share screen, I believe, below, so you can
Yeah,
share things with that.
absolutely. Thank you so much. So when we look at people's hands, what we're actually doing, if you're from the 99% of the world, you would think that we're reading your future. And in fact, I have to establish one thing if we're going to have a good conversation here. I am not a palm reader, right? So I am not reading your forecast, or I'm not doing tarot cards or anything. Not to say that that's not invalid. I'm sure there's a system around intuition that is amazing, and reading energy and all of that many of your listeners probably have had their hand read. However, what I'm doing is showing you something that has been discovered since officially about 150 years ago, and been validated that we are living in a life pattern. Do you see some twins on your screen right now?
Right now, the screen being shared. right now,
right
yes.
now, yes. So you do or you do not see some twins at the moment?
No.
No. Okay, then that means that we need to have some sharing rights to do it. So
No, I see the whole picture. Like when you do it, I see but I was saying not because they are in a different way, but it's being shared your screen. It's okay.
okay, great. Okay, and so what we're seeing is that by looking at twins separated from birth, we can see that. Am I still sharing? I'm not sure if I'm still doing
No,
that.
right now, no.
Okay, fine. Let me try it again. So, because I really want you guys to see the uh, what what we've seen. All right, let me know if you see twins.
Right now, no.
Okay, well, just
Right
imagine.
now,
Hopefully,
yes,
okay,
they are there.
okay, great, we got there. All right, so what we see is that we're all living in life patterns, and there are studies of twins separated from birth that find out after 39 years, oh my God, I have a twin. You know, they look up the adoption papers and they're like, okay, I have a twin brother. And he takes his Chevrolet and he drives across the state lines to meet his twin brother. And he sees his same Chevrolet parked in the front driveway. And he meets his twin, his name's Jim, and his name's Jim, and his wife is Linda, and his wife is Linda, and they both their sons are named James Allen, and they both have this love for stock car racing. They both have jobs in law enforcement, and they
Mm.
both make toys in their backyard, and they both have the same hands and fingerprint patterns.
Wow.
So that's a thing that if you've studied twins separated from birth, you go, well, that's a funny thing that twins do. No, that's what every human being does. You just don't have a biological twin to compare to. But maybe there's somebody of the 7 billion people that have that are occupying this earth that have the same hands, same fingerprints, same lines that are sharing the same life. And I guarantee what we've seen is anyone who shares the same hands, same fingerprints has the same problems, has the same money issues, has the same difficulty with their mother, has the
Mm.
same agonizing issue with their business and their money issues and the lack of clarity on their vision or not. Maybe they're amazing in their business because they have a different fingerprint pattern.
Mm. Wow. And quick question, Brent, because for example, my wife has some brothers that are twins, and they are doing different things. They didn't have this situation, but if we study them, we can find that like same patterns or how it works.
Exactly. So there's a lot of twins probably listening to this, and there are identical twins, there are fraternal twins,
Exactly.
right? So we're talking about identical twins. And that doesn't necessarily mean that all twins will have the same fingerprints. In fact, I just finished reading the Bryant Wood triplets, and they each had slightly different fingerprint patterns that created a completely different life pattern for all three of them. But
Mm.
whatever they have in common is whatever line that they have. Maybe it's a heart line that's super passionate, which is this horizontal line at the top of your palm of your hand. It goes from the lower little finger you have all the way up to the index finger, and it
Mm.
goes if it's really swooping up like that, that's a line that was developed when you first developed a facial expression. And if it's really big, if you put both of your pinkies together and make like you're holding up a cup of water and you look down and you see a big smile there of that heart line, that means that you're pretty animated as a person and you're pretty emotional and expressed. And so were those twins that had the same smile on their hand. And some people just have a nothing. It's like an emoji, like, and there's nothing there but just a short heart line. They're not very emotional. They have the emotional expression of the Dalai Lama or Brad Pitt or David Grohl. So there you're starting to see already that that's a pattern. That's a pattern in how they're going to form relationships.
Mm.
So what you may not be able to have a biological twin to compare to, but even the more that your hand starts to look like any of these four people here, then you start to share a pattern. Maybe they're practical and they get a big, thick, square hand, like a
Mm.
farmer. They're very mechanically inclined or kinesthetic, as we would say, physical. Or maybe you have, as a man, a feminine hand, a real slender hand. And maybe from that hand, you're more effeminate in your character, and you're very maybe you need to work with beauty products. Maybe you're somebody with crazy lines all over your hands with short fingers, more spirited, dangerous, empowered. Or maybe you're just a very objective, neutral guy and you love to wear striped shirts and you love to uh, wear glasses and teach. But what's interesting is that these people are living completely different lives. Anyone who has a big square hand like that, who loves to milk cows and is, you see it as soon as you drive out the city, and pretty much every house that's built around you and every office is built by a guy with big, square, thick hands. And it's not because he holds a hammer more. He had that hand type before he lifted the hammer. So
Wow.
it's that this guy will never stand on stage and rap, right? And this guy who's a physicist with long fingers, long palm, will never put his half naked body on Instagram the way that Kendall Jenner loves to do on a weekly basis. He's never, not once in his life, done that. There's no
Yes.
reason for it. So they're living, when you're organizing people by hands, you're organizing people by talents. And when you get your hand analyzed, you can go down the rabbit hole and go, well, okay, all the people with your hand type have this talent, but within your tribe of people, you might have people within your tribe that also made buildings. But what if you're a swami, or what if you're somebody who is wanting to write her book, or what if you're just a highly creative, maybe you're a guru, or maybe you're just a teacher. You have to put it in context to the life that you're living, the constellation around you. Maybe you're in the Indian slums and you still have an intellectual hand, so you still want to be a teacher, something, right?
Mm.
So all these hand types allow us to see the type of life you're living. So we have to redefine what is your biology, your neurobiology. It is your life. It is your uncle. It is your cousins. It is your friends. It is your relationship to your business and your clients. All that is being broadcast through your hands. And we can see that pattern. And then when you relay that pattern back to you, you can see, oh, actually, I'm pretty weak over here. And this is what's blocking you. And if you're wanting to make $1 million and you're not, you probably are in this place where you are under constant stress and you're not doing what you love, and or maybe that's not your life purpose. So what we see is that we have to redefine that we're not just thinking with our brain. Okay, we are, but we're not just. We're thinking with our entire nervous system, including your toes. Every part, mainly this amount of sensory neurons, are around your heart, your stomach. You've heard that you kind of think with your gut sometimes, no matter how much information you might get. If your gut doesn't say this is the right path, you ain't going anywhere, right? That's a gut decision. Your
Yeah.
heart may make this decision as well. So all those are areas that you can think, and nowhere does that show more than in the hand. So this is a neurological model. Does that make sense?
Yes, complete sense.
So I'm reading your mind.
I have a question just quickly on this. Like, okay, maybe I have an spirit hand, for example, and when I have that spirit hand, that means that I will have that hand all my life, and I have to adapt to that, or it's something that can change on time.
Yeah. So If you had short fingers compared to the rest of your palm with crazy lines like Snoop Dogg all over your hands, and you're looking down and you probably go, well, I have 3 lines. But if you have, like, let's say you're counting 35 lines, that's a lot of fire. That's a lot of creative energy. That's not
Mm,
going away anytime soon. However,
okay.
your hand can change. I have a lot of women that are not so feminine that are coming
Mm,
to me because they've been working in a corporate office and they have lost the attraction within their relationship. They were beautiful when they were married, but kids, having to manage a whole set of a family dynamics plus pressure. Maybe they even had to have a job at the same time. Puts you in a different experience of being somebody out of your element. Maybe you're just working all the time, right? Or maybe you're just teaching all the time. But where's your feminine side? So what you're seeing when you look at the hand is what you're not as well. And if there's no softness and feminine, like you can say some wetness in the hand, then the person is literally missing a way of expressing feelings on a regular basis, which means
mm,
that they're not surrendering and trust and showing their feminine side. They're showing a more hard, practical, dominant side. And then they're wondering, why am I not able to keep the attraction of a mate after my third breakup? And so what they do is they come in, they get a hand analysis, we can see it, and then we show them how to change their hand so that it's back to being feminine by changing who they are. I'll show you before and after how that's done.
okay. Awesome. Let's go to the.
So here's a here's an example of a before after. She's a very successful woman and her hand looks like you could drive a tractor trailer over it. She's not going to feel it.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of scaling and dry. And you would say, well, I just put some hand lotion on that, get back in the game, right?
Yeah. That's
That's
that's what
no
we
water.
think, but no.
Yeah, exactly. That's just no water. And you would say, and nowadays you would say, there's nothing wrong with her. She's happy. But actually, I look in the hand and I'm like, this is. Do you see blueness here? Like there's bruising underneath that. That's trauma deep within the hand.
Well,
Deep sadness. And the scaling shows a lack of emotion, meaning she's detached emotionally. So look what happens when we shift her. La da.
yeah,
Beautiful French
completely
woman
different.
now. And her hand looks soft, beautiful, pink. A little bit of more blueness is coming out. But what's happening is that she became younger. She got
Yeah.
younger. How did she get younger? This is 3 weeks later, and she looks younger. How did she get younger? Because we turned on the part of the system and switched off the part of the system that was aging her.
Mm,
And it's real simple. Stress ages you. It's really easy. Stress ages you. But if we can
well,
reverse the stress, in other words, relieve the stress, you're going to look like you just got back from Hawaii. You're going to you look like a lot younger. You see it all the time, right? You see people that
yes.
look like look at COVID, right? Look at all the people that aged through COVID. And then you see something happen, they got back on track and they went through some big health retreat and they come back. Wow, you look amazing. You're out of that relationship now. Well, that's kind of what we're doing here is we're getting the trauma out from within the hand and then you move into a vision of yourself being happy based on the fingerprint pattern. And the fingerprint pattern, if you have all this need to go in a certain direction, you see that. You see that from the time that you're born. You're made to be a visionary leader, for example, or you're made to be an artist. That is seen in a fingerprint pattern. Like no kidding.
Mm,
I'm not trying to make you believe anything. I'm saying this is a fact. You look at somebody's fingerprint and they have to have a circle somewhere That's saying that they need to express it. It doesn't guarantee they're going to be an artist or successful. Let's put it that way. All right. There's a lot of people pumping gas right now that are not living their life purpose.
Mm.
But the potential of their happiness is revealed through this neurological potential that you see in the hands. And to explain why this is relevant for business is that when you understand the way in which what your greatest potential is that we see in you from your hands, and you then develop a business and you make that your purpose and you brand your business, you have more energy than anyone else to do what you do. And when I show you that you have a talent to do it, as well as an all you can eat buffet of serotonin and dopamine, in other words, happiness, doing it, and you're not going to get into overwhelm the way that you would if you got misplaced in something that is not your life purpose or not fulfilling. To explain how that is, I have to show you how these fingerprints formed. You ready?
Yes, please.
All right. So they were trying to figure out what the personality was. And the personality is the sensory cortex. In other words, you're not in an, Oculus Rift virtual reality. You're right here, present. You can feel the weight of your chair. You can feel the senses, the heat in the room. There's a space around you. There is a taste in your mouth. That is all your sensory cortex. And if you expand per square millimeter amount of sensory neurons for your sensory cortex, your eyes would be and ears would be like a saucer, your lips would be like a basketball, and your hands would be as big as you. Right. And so why is the hand so important? Well, because they're important for the way that for 400,000 years you've used them to get your needs met. So it is representing every part of your personality. So if somebody has, for example, a big index finger, then they're very dominant because they have a drive to direct. Somebody has a big thumb, they can hold on to a lot of things. And it's not just physically. I'm talking their personality is very controlling when they have a big thumb. And all you have to do is get all your uncles and aunts at the dinner table and look at their thumbs, and you'll see it for yourself. So
Mm.
personality is one to one with the hand, but it gets bigger than this. Your reality is one to one with your hand, your reality, because it's your sensory cortex. So this is this map, and this is where you see in maybe palmistry, they talk about the Jupiter fingers. I mean, for 2,000 years, they've been using this map saying this is the map of your life. The index
Mhm.
finger is your powerful side. The Jupiter is what they called it, is what Aristotle 2,000 years ago said. It's the Jupiter, it's the index finger, it's the directing side, and your thumb. Well, that's you can think of it as that is very much your sympathetic nervous system. When you get switched on, you got to take charge. So if somebody has a big index and thumb, you can say, well, they have a big take charge side. There's a lot of testosterone that is being produced to produce these fingers. Fact. And then you look over and just look at the 2D, 4D studies that have been out there, and you'll see all the literature to back up what I'm saying. On the area of the ring and little finger, they're not so useful. There isn't a baby on the planet that's tried to open up a jar with their ring and little finger. I'm telling you this so that you can understand the map I'm about to tell you of what your life purpose is. That your hand has different ways of experiencing the reality around you. And those patterns of whether you like it or not are shown there. And you have the earth and the moon, or you could say your physical side below the thumb. And then this area, which is the area of the moon region, they called it, is where you go and daydream or you visit every night. So imagine at 7 weeks, your parents had a really great night. And 7 weeks later, you're born, you're a fetus, and you're coming in. And by all senses that we know from neuroscience, the soul comes into the body. And if you don't like hearing that, then you could say the early building blocks of consciousness, serotonin, dopamine, histamine, the electricity is coming into your body. And it goes into these areas and say, I love it. And literally, there's an erection of, oh my God, I love this area. I must have it. And it's a big ball. A big ball is a lot of energy, a lot of something there. And when we look at what that is, that's saying, oh, when I grow up, I want to be that, whatever that is. Maybe it's creativity. Maybe you have a big ball on your index finger at this stage, and you go, I want to be Richard Branson. I come from a powerful family. Maybe it's on your left thumb. Maybe I come from a connection with all family and tribe, and that's the way I live my life. But what you need to understand is that this pattern is what we call an epigenetic pattern. What that means is that there are experiences that your grandmother had that you inherited, or say a belief that she had. And every belief is attached to a feeling. So if you carry a belief for an entire generation that men are unsafe or money is strict, then you're going to get in the area of structure or money, which is the middle finger, a strictness there. Nothing will grow. If there's an area that men are unsafe and there's abuse in the family, nothing's going to grow there. But what if you have a lot of creativity? Then you'll have a big ball. And that ball then becomes a fingerprint. If it's a big ball, you get a circle. Just like if you put a bowling ball underneath a carpet. And maybe you don't have a bunch of circles, you don't need it, or maybe you just love it and you have a wave, or maybe you just have an upside down T. Maybe you're just interested, or maybe you're just indifferent and you just have an arch. Those fingerprint patterns I can tell you about when you get your hand analyzed, and I can show you what you have. But whatever it is, that is wherever that circle is where we can see what is it you're meant to do, what turns you on, which means that I've had 10 people quit their antidepressants. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to say go quit your antidepressants, but I can say I've had 10 people quit them because once I showed them, just do these experiences and you're going to love it. And you're going to get all the happiness that you need. And it's different for every person. One person is being empowering other people. Another person is being Richard Branson. He has a circle on his right index. Maybe you're Elvis Presley. You're meant to be an artist. Then it's something on your right ring finger. Maybe you're an inspirational speaker on your right little finger. Maybe you're meant to be a healer and there's a circle there. So these things are real. And what we have now seen is that when you get your hand analyzed, it's like a functional MRI. It's not like seeing, okay, you get a bigger brain just because you have bigger fingers, but we can see the way that you function and there's talents that you have. And this is the equivalent of 3 years of psychotherapy, said Dr. Ernst Pullman, who is a neurologist. He was he was moving into Yale and was working in conscious studies as a director for Yale in conscious studies, moving over here and helping people now with neurology and psychotherapy. And he went through this and goes, this is amazing. That is opening up a whole new field. So looking at this, I was skeptical and I didn't know if this was true. And I think it's okay to be skeptical. So I went out and I got as many people in a butterfly collection. I got everyone from the wealthiest man that I could find in Switzerland to being escorted by the Swiss guards into the Vatican, where they used to, look at hand readers as a threat. Now I'm being invited and having a 4-hour conversation about the nature of the soul and the fingerprints, because we've now established that connection. And
Wow.
the astronaut and the head physicist. And what I was doing is not only validating the pattern, but how did they break through? How did they get to be where they were? And on and on and on. It's gone to where I'm sure you recognize Tony Robbins, Russell Brand, Keira Knightley, Beyonce. I was on stage with Tony Robbins in front of 4,000 people in London, reading his fingers. And what I've been doing is to get these patterns so that when I look at somebody and I see somebody with Russell Brand's hand or Tony Robbins' hand, I can at least inspire you to go, you know what? you have the same hands and fingerprints as this guy. And if he can do it, you can do it. And this is an area he thrives. You thrive in that area too. So to prove it, I would get a handprint with no knowledge of who it was, and give it to the Institute of Hand Analysis. And I would interview him. I was in backstage with Eminem right before he's about to go into the Reading Festival with 40,000 people. And I'm inking up his hands and I'm making him late. And I'm asking him, well, while I'm inking it, what is your life purpose? What is the dilemma that you've always had? What's the talent, obviously, you have? And then I give the handprint to the Institute of Hand Analysis with 200 other hands. And they were able to guess that they had a rapper, that this guy's life purpose is artist and his life struggle is power struggles. So wouldn't that be interesting if you knew what your trigger is? And that creates a whole pattern where we can now start to see a whole new way of working with well-being, how to understand your triggers, how to undo your triggers, and to reverse years of therapy in a single session, because we just have to say, you're not doing you right. You're not doing your talents right. Do this. You're meant to do this.
Wow, wow, this is incredible. And how it works? It's like in one session, it's several sessions. How normally works
Well,
this?
it's a great question. So the way that we normally do is if you just go outside and you take a photo of your hand with your smartphone, not a picture of your car with your hand in the way, but a proper photo in the sun of your hand. And any iPhone, any Samsung these days can take a brilliant photograph. We can see all your fingers. You just send it over to me. And if you're going, yeah, I don't know about this Swiss American guy, then just go to thepowerinyourhands.com and just sign up for 15 minutes. And I'll give you the best that I can in 15 minutes, free, complimentary. So, but what you do is you link it over to, once I can give a proper diagram, I can show you an example of a diagram. We show you what is it you're talented in, and what is it that triggers you to reduce your energy to where you have the intelligence of a rhesus monkey.
Mm.
What turns you off so much that when you're so triggered, you get really dumb and you don't perform? Now, most importantly, how do you get out of it? So that's a trigger. Everyone has one, by the way. And I don't care if you have circles all over your fingers, you be service to humanity. Maybe your trigger is that you get obligated and struggle and effort. But whatever the case is, if you go into I can get you out of that sacrifice story into the place of the Zen joy that is what you came here to do.
Mm.
And you get out of that too much, too little story where you're doing too many things and you're in overwhelm, or too little and you're not in any sense of meaning at all. And I can show you, this is your sweet spot. Do this for a few days and you'll notice the difference, and now continue it for the rest of your life. Now, that's a hand analysis. And that's
And
2 hours.
normally, yeah, and you have different things, because one is like, okay, in 15 minutes you can have an idea. In 2 hours you can have something more deep of what is exactly that your hand is telling.
Right.
I have a quick question, Brent. With everything that you have been telling, it's like, I know that there is some people that here it's because of a business, believe in yourself, believe in your business.
Yeah.
So if I have a business, I have a team, how this can help me to know how is my team, if it's in the right place, if they are developing and doing exactly what they are supposed to do. Is something that you recommend to do, or how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the thing. I can tell you that this is your life purpose of what you're meant to do. But if you are stuck if you're stuck and you can't see anything out of your problem that you're in, chances are you're in a very long-standing trigger. Now, we say trauma, and people get really scared, like, oh my gosh, I didn't come out of Vietnam, so I don't have any traumas. But what I want you to do is redefine, at least for this conversation, what trauma is. Trauma is being in a state of anger, anxiety, fear, or depression, a regulatory feeling that is supposed to only last for an hour to get you out of the situation. You're on your third day, fourth day, 28th day. And the longer you're there, the more the nervous system begins to protect you and become kind of an ego. That's kind of what your life, when we a lot what we read in the hand is, who do you become? And it's not the most amazing person, right? You become detached. If you're a fiery person, you become fiery and kind of detached all the time and kind of cold. If you're an intellectual, you become judgmental. So these ways that you become block your money totally. Most people, God bless their heart, in Switzerland is considered one of the happiest places. But as I have observed, about the most of people are around 70% triggered. In other words, they're just on autopilot. Their day doesn't look any much different than the previous day. And if you're trying to grow a business and your day looks exactly like the day it was even for the last 5 days, that's not growth. That's you doing an ordinary pattern. And that's a very predictable way. So if I can show you how to break out of that, then you're going to go from this to that. I'll show you an example, because I'm sure that what you're probably going is like, right, what does having a hand reading have anything? I'm working with doctors and multimillionaires as well as housewives. All right. So it doesn't matter what occupation you have. Obviously, working with some pretty famous people. So let's just take an example. Do you see, I'm sharing again, you see a feisty lady here?
Not yet. Maybe
Let
in
me know
some
when
time.
you do.
Okay.
All right. So here's somebody that's blocked. You look at her, she looks pretty blocked. You try to give her a hug, and she looks like she's going to bite your arm off. Right. She's actually about to be. She doesn't know it yet. She's been 10 years working in the back office of a Swiss airline, and she doesn't know that she's about to be famous. All right. She
Try
knows
to
her.
share again because I don't see anything
Oh,
yet.
sure. I'll try it to share again. Let's give it a go. So coming right up. There it goes, Microshop, and I'm going to share the entire screen. Okay, I think we got there, huh? Do you see
I
thousands of
have
you?
I have everything. Okay, now I see. Yes.
All right. Do you see a slightly angry lady?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
All right. This is what being in the shadow looks like. It's not your best day. It's not your worst day. It's just a day, and you've been used to it, and you're just kind of foggy. And when we go through the hand reading, we can see exactly what is the block. Now, she has been working in the back office of Swiss Airlines, and she has dreams, and we can see those dreams that you have in your fingerprints. Why? Because we know the way that your dreams and what really turns you on is those high-ranking fingerprints, like a circle. And when we look at her, she dreams to be a world success artist because she has all this creativity in her hands, like Snoop Dogg, all this fiery lines everywhere. So when we show her and affirm that you are meant, you have talents to be an artist, quit working in paperwork. First, get yourself in the right life. Second, you have a trigger of unfairness. And that is, who is the person in your life that most represents the bully in or you feel that life is unfair? And of course, every Sunday she would go home and do her laundry, and she'd have a power struggle at home with the family. So that was the father. So good. Clear that up with the father. And she does. And she goes from this, and then her whole system, including her immune system, instead of the compression, opens up into her feminine. And then she was like, gosh, with this power, I can do anything. So she says, I'm going to get my music label going, and I'm going to get on the BBC, and I'm going to represent the Sri Lanka people about my music. And she gets her music out on YouTube. It's good music, actually. It's in her hands. It shows an incredible creative potential. Sure enough, she gets interviewed. She's got 28 record labels coming after her. She chooses two, and ultimately has a 3 months later, she's pimped up, and she's now in the downtown center of Zurich, representing a perfume, and about to go and make a worldwide tour. Right? That woman did not know what was going to hit her. So,
Wow.
how did hand reading have anything to do with that? How does it help you? Well, you need to understand that whatever the low ranking fingerprints, those things really trip you up in life. They're triggers.
Mm.
And if you just look at your last month and go, how many upsets and how much was I in a dissatisfying, unfulfilling day? Maybe you had some really great days. Maybe it was your wedding day, but you may have some unfulfilling. You're kind of in a mode. That mode is to keep you safe. It's doing its job, by the way. So to get out of that mode, of that predictable life, we got to be able to look at how to break you through by reminding you first, you have all these talents. Do you remember those? Oh, yeah, I remember. All right, great. Do you remember that you used to be this big visionary creative, and your purpose is to be of service to as many people, and you're an amazing speaker? Yeah, but I'm a radiologist and I have to support my family, and I'm having power struggles with my wife. Yeah. All right. So let's get out of that story. You're in the wrong movie. Let's clear that thing up. I don't care if you need to do 2 hours of meditation to bring unattachment and vipassana, bring a sense of love to her so you can get back in the right movie. And most of all, clear things up with whoever represents that trigger. So you're going, well, how do I do that? How do I have a crucial conversation? So that's what a lot of people come and do, a process on how do you manage these type of conversations so you can turn around your father who hasn't spoken to you in years. And why does that have anything to do with your business? I don't know. Look at this guy. He closed $1 million deal the next month. And this guy had nothing but dreams. One day he's going to be a millionaire. What's the difference? Right?
Yeah.
He
Like
showed up.
he's moving everything, showing up differently.
His wife looks different than the wife that was in that picture. And out of respect, I'm not going to show the wife in that picture. But these are doctors, right? And then ultimately, 6 months later, he's got his plane that he dreamed of, that he was just sitting here complaining that one day he's going to get a plane, right? So these dreams are available for you when you get and reduce your complaint in your life and you move to a place of blessings and gratitude. And it doesn't matter whether you're a neurologist who knows everything about psychology already, right? When if I can get you out of this place and get you into this place, and you're about to mortgage your house in order to keep your employees running, because the only problem you know how to solve is with that brain of yours. And I'm like, stop doing that. You need to solve with your stomach and your heart. Do you see it?
Yeah.
His neurology is now switched on fully because I showed him how to do it. And that is done through the hand analysis. And if you're blocked, I shift you, I get you out of it. And then he closes finally that deal. And he's got a subscription deal with probably the most beautiful hotel within 100 miles of Zurich, called the Dolder. And he's got a regular subscription of his products into that hotel when all he had was a problem that was for 2 years. How am I going to support and close this deal? Try showing up like this to your stakeholders. So it's not anything for you to believe. Just look at this woman who has this mother, Okay, anyone with that mother might have that face, but look at what happens to her when she shifts and she shows up to her like this and saying, Mom, you're good. Let's clear things up. I've been a little bit frustrated about the fact that I never really got apology 5 years ago. And we've been living 1 mile apart and we haven't talked to each other for 3 years. So let's clean this up and let's get back into the movie. Ding. Now I call them, that's me. And look at them, and she's now in a whole new life. So to accomplish that, it seems unrealistic. But what we do is we make a hand analysis to show you what it is that you're made of and what's holding you back. And once you do that, then you break through, and then I'd say go do it, and you come up with this really beautiful vision. Does that
I
make
I I love it, Brent. Really, that's why now I believe everybody understands why I was so happy that we had this conversation today. It was like I have been like, okay, let's understand like everything that you are talking. So it was really incredible. For me, it's like a pity that we're at the end 2 minutes, the last 2 minutes. So I would love to know a little bit more about how people can work with you. So let me see because we have
Yeah, we've got a coupon code for you
a
guys that are listening. I realize you're in Mexico, so we've got if you just use Alejandro Bratti, there's a coupon code, quote Alejandro Bratti. So you go to thepowerinyourhands.com and then you book a hand analysis and apply that code, Alejandro Bratti. You'll get a chance. You'll choose a time, and then when you go to pay, you'll apply the code Alejandro Bratti. It'll take $50 off. It'll be 225 instead of 275. And if you're still skeptical about it, just you'll see within there you can attend my webinar, or you can go for 15 minutes free, and I'll just read your hand. I'll pressure you into getting a 2-hour hand analysis so that you can stop fooling around and take your life seriously and take your life pattern seriously. This is something that is now beautifully represented in The Power in Your Hands. I'm not selling the book, by the way, though you can buy it from my website. What I want you to understand is that this is based on years, 500,000 people's hands, in order to represent that different people have different talents. And I will show you yours. I have 20,000 hands on my computer just to show you where I'm coming from.
and really, I am going to be one of those that is going to take this 2 hour hands with this coupon. So just saying that I really trust and believe on what Brent is saying and doing, because it's really amazing. And you can see different things like wow, it's like how I can start to change something that I'm stuck, like you were saying the whole program today. Like I am stuck in this area, I can change that and I can start to activate my power and my potential. And at the end, that's the reason we're doing all of this. So thank you, Brent. I know that today I didn't have time to talk too much. I was
I'm sorry.
like really allowing you to have this space because it was amazing. And I wanted everybody to hear what Brent has to say today. And I enjoyed every second. So thank you very much, Brent.
You're
It's
welcome.
not
And
sorry. It was really a pleasure for me to have this and to hear all of this. And I believe I can hear several times, not only once. So I really love it. And I believe
thank you.
exactly what you are showing and saying. It's like people changes their lives, their hair, like everything changes. So I
Their
love that.
feminine side, they go back to return to themselves. And there's usually, maybe if you look at, why we go into these places, why we lost ourselves somewhere in the process. It's okay. Just recognize that wherever you are is exactly where, in the perfect place to make the transformation into your full life and your business, and your fortune, I would say, really depends on you having a happy life. It really does. And so if I can show you, hey, do this, you can make money and be happy. It's your guy, right? Is what the Japanese would say. Get paid what you love.
So everybody, if you didn't hear or see it, it's thepowerinyourhands.com, and you can put the coupon my name, Alejandro Bratti, like it is there with a double T. With that, you can have $50 discount. So Brent, really, I hope that we can see you very soon again, and thank you for this time. So everybody, this show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and leave it. Thank you, Brent. Thank you all. See you next time.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.